Hello everyone, welcome back to Charmed Rewind! Yay!
Sure.
Like the Kermit arms. Yay! So time for the Phoebe show tonight. We get a ton of Phoebe in this one.
Yeah.
But it's early Phoebe. I feel like it's more compelling that way, you know? You can feel that the tension on screen is real, because it is.
She's a little bit of a better character at this point. Still annoying.
Yeah, well, you can tell she feels a little bit of guilt about wrongdoing she may or may not have committed.
She's about to do.
Yeah. We watched Season 2, Episode 17, Pardon My Past. I do remember this episode quite well. This is during the Neighbor Dan saga, and I thought the funniest part is that in their past life, Neighbor Dan was always going to be part of that circle.
He'll always be a part of our lives, just like his niece or whatever her name was.
Yeah, it was Jenny. I think Cousin Jenny was I don't know if we even covered a Cousin Jenny episode. There's so many of them.
Yeah. The good old 4 episodes where she's a main character.
Yeah.
I still think it's possible they meant her to be the girl in the past.
No, well, no, because she's not dead in the present.
Yeah,
the whole thing is like they have to die before they reincarnate or whatever.
Yeah. So I guess not.
Yeah, but it took us a second. We're like, is that Neighbor Dan's niece or whatever? Because we don't remember what she looked like.
Jenny.
That Neighbor Jenny? But no, it wasn't. But anyway, I think the major story things going on at this point, this is after the thing that happened with the ninja doll fruit disease that Piper had. Neighbor Dan had
Neighbor Leo.
Neighbor Dan had some soda or something in that episode, and he went to go get some sodas for them. I think that was his big contribution in that one. Neighbor Leo has given up his immortality because he
he got his wings clipped because he was bad.
Yeah, he was bad. He healed Piper when he wasn't supposed to, and then he got his wings clipped. He's mortal now. Not really clear exactly where he's living or how he's doing so well, considering he has no record of his existence. And we find out by the end of the episode, if you look into him, there's nothing. Maybe he's living somewhere where you don't have to have any sort of record laying low.
He said maybe he's living at P3, the dump that place is.
I mean, that's where his son lives later, so...
You get a nice daytime shot of P3 and like, holy crap, that place is garbage.
It looks like a total dump. They show it from an angle they don't usually show it from, where it's like the railings all bent and
see
shit.
How bad the railing is.
You see like the gutter next to it.
Like, usually they show it at night, so you just kind of see the lit up lights and stuff. You're like, okay. And it's like, ugh, in the morning, this place is garbage.
Yeah, the nighttime really hides the stains pretty well.
This place is actually a giant dive.
Ew. Yeah, it took us a second. We're like, is this the front? Because it just looks like a gutter, but it's got a sign above it. We're like referencing other pictures, like, what is that what P3 looks like outside? We have to do some detective work here.
Much dumpier than usual. It's like, what?
I feel like a lot of clubs, I guess to be fair, don't look that great during the day because you're not generally going to them during the day. But
not all of them look that bad in the morning.
It's pretty bad.
You want to wake up there and like, oh, boy, did I make some mistakes last night. P3
next to like a dirty needle and anyway,
some love advice from Phoebe. Ew.
There's a lot of ew going on in this episode. You want to jump into it?
Sure.
All right. So the first thing we see is like a fancy dinner party going on at the Halliwell house.
Yeah.
Not clear why they're having this party. I guess just for fun.
It's just to parallel the past.
Yeah, but it's like we never see them.
I know, they never do this.
People, they have it like midnight at their house in like fancy outfits.
Literally no reason for them to be doing this other than the house was a speakeasy in the past, apparently.
Yeah, all these people you never see in the show. And like, also, this is supposed to be like midnight. They've been partying for a while, but like none of them look like they've been partying till midnight. It just looks like it's like 3 p.m. in the middle of the day. Like, oh, hey, yeah, we're having a party over here.
This is how you know it's early Phoebe, too, because she's not reveling in the party, making it all about her. She's upstairs trying to study. Like, keep it down!
You know, if it was a later season, she'd be showing up in that same outfit, but the assault would happen during the party, so everyone could see her, like, bra in her shorts.
She's upset, though, because this party isn't either thrown by her or about her.
Oh, if it was later, it would be like Elise and everyone from the paper was there sucking up to her.
Yeah.
And like, it's great we're having the newspaper party. Or whatever.
For your #1 column, syndication everywhere.
Yeah, to
blah,
celebrate
blah, blah,
the new
blah.
award you got. So anyway, Prue is in this like suede dress. It's all suede. It's interesting. I can't say it's ugly, just interesting. But if she was partying till midnight, it'd be kind of sweaty and gross looking. So Piper is next to her. She complains that Prue invited Leo. It took them until midnight for her to be like, yeah, you shouldn't have invited that stupid bitch.
Like, that Piper's mostly mad because at the party it seems like Dan and Leo are getting along.
Yeah, she's super mad about this. It's so funny. Like, so first of all, Leo gave up his immortality to save her. She ended up with neighbor Dan anyway. And then she's just like, oh, well, he's gonna feel awkward at the party. And then
he didn't have to come.
Yeah, he didn't have to come, but like cut to him laughing with neighbor Dan over there, having a great time. She's like, oh, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you guys talking about me? And they're like, no. And she's like, what?
This is a great opening episode for Brian Krause to be in the opening credits. This is the first time he's a main cast member. Like,
real foreshadowing to their relationship.
Yeah, they're not even... he had time to escape and he didn't. It's really on him at some point, you know?
I was looking at the Charmed Wiki is talking about their marriage, and it's like most couples, they fight a lot. But anyway, there's some real love there. Anyway, in this story, they fight a lot. And then Piper blows up the wall and Leo sleeps downstairs. After that, they fight a lot.
But in the end, it was a loving fight.
Poor Leo. If only she had ended up with Dan. That was her soulmate.
Dan deserves Leo. Or Dan deserves Leo. He deserves Leo. Dan deserves Piper. Because holy shit, what a fucking creep in this episode.
Oh, man. Is he ever?
But he also deserves Leo. They seem to really be getting on in this scene.
Yeah.
Also, fucking more of the Leo abuse. Prue's like, well, I had to invite Leo. He was at the club when I was picking up supplies. Like, I felt sorry for him. Like, he knows we're having a party now. I can't not invite this fucking loser. He's living in the gutter up front.
Just abusing their business and stealing supplies.
Yeah. So they're looking at Leo and Dan drinking beer and laughing together. Yeah, and then Prue's like, oh, well, he's got to get over the fact that you're together with neighbor Dan. You are still together with him, right? A romance that transcends time, but you are still together, right?
You're still seeing that tool? Kind of figured you probably broke up with him by now, but I don't know.
So this is when Phoebe comes downstairs in a weird open kimono over a bra and shorts.
A toilet flush as she comes down.
And she's like, hey, can you keep it down? I got midterms tomorrow.
It's really important that I, do all this course so I can work at the paper.
I think like later in the show, she also goes back to psychology classes. So I guess she's like, I'll continue where I left off.
Toss that in at the end.
Yeah. She is in the right, though, I think, if they're going at midnight and she's got like school the next day. A little bit rude.
They probably shouldn't have planned it this way, sure.
She was more polite than she would have been in later episodes, though. I feel as soon as Cole came in, she's like, I can keep it down. Phoebe starts to list all the phobias she has to learn for her psych exam, and then Prue tells her to relaxophobia.
Relaxophobia. Laxophobia.
Laxophobia.
It's the Phoebe Meister.
Just thinking about that what is it, Bud Spencer movie where he says like
punchophobia. You're a real punchophobia.
I feel like only one person other than us is going to know what we're
Bud Spencer.
All the Bud Spencer fans are like rushing.
Punchophobia.
I feel like the Charmed fans and Bud Spencer fans, it's like a circle, the graph of that overlap.
That's his best line ever, though, was punchophobia.
Punchophobia. Was he dressed like a clown when he said that?
He might have been.
Or was that am I mixing up the clown moment?
I don't remember.
I don't know. He's a guy with a very heavy Italian accent. And he's like,
punchophobia. A girl punchophobia. Phoebe brings up phallophobia as one of her phobias.
Yeah.
And that's really misogyny.
Certainly got over that one.
Well, she is the opposite. What is it, like phallus obsession?
Yeah.
But anyway, so neighbor Dan and Leo still having this great conversation. What are they talking about and laughing? Baseball. The sport ball is what these two gentlemen are discussing at midnight.
Like, are you talking about Piper ball? No.
What?
This was a touch they kind of forgot about later in the show, but Leo makes like a faux pas. Like he's like, oh, my favorite baseball player when I was growing up was Joe DiMaggio. And then like Dan's like, no, when you were growing up, that's too old. And like, oh, I mean, my dad's favorite player, so that's why he was mine. And they kind of forgot later that he is supposed to be an old man, basically.
Yeah, wish they hadn't forgot these touches.
Yeah, because there are some things that they do in this episode and in other episodes that it's a little confusing to me. They act like he has no friends and doesn't know how to interact in the world. And it's like, well, he's been in the world for quite a while. He's just older than he seems. So I don't know why, like, they act like he has no friends or no connections or nothing.
I get that he'd be thrown off in the situation he's currently in, though, where he's been made mortal again. Yeah,
they had, like, ones where he didn't have any money or, like, didn't, like, there were things he didn't think about before he was mortal and on his own.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if, like, the elders provide him with money. Is it a paying job? Because it doesn't seem like it is.
Well, he's working at P3 to make money, apparently.
Well, now he's not a white lighter, so he's on his own.
Yeah, that's why he's working at P3 to
but I just mean when he was a white lighter, how do you make his money or any of this stuff?
I don't know if he had to.
Was he actually a handyman?
Crash at the elder's place or whatever.
Why didn't he become a handyman when he became mortal? It seemed like he was really good at it.
Yeah, he could have done that.
Anyway. So neighbor Dan's trying to ask about his past, and then he's like dodging the question, like, oh, well, I don't know. And then Piper shows up, and she's like,
party's over. Nothing suspicious here.
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake.
He's like, hey, when were you in the army?
So we cut to upstairs. Phoebe is like, oh, finally, the stupid party's over.
But then she hears, damn
it, Kermit! So she's like, cut out, Kermit. So she runs downstairs. She hears this party going on, but no one is in there. Everyone booked it out of this house. Mm-hmm. It looks really clean, too, for like just after a party where like there's still people outside.
Yeah.
But anyway, no one is there.
It's a ghost town.
It's ghost town. Just then, an invisible force attacks/molests her.
This makes no sense in any context. Like, because once you find out who made it happen, like, it doesn't make sense either. Because they imply her past life did this as a warning, but then you find out her past life was evil and in love with the guy who did this.
Yeah, they act like the past life was having some sort of crisis of conscience, but then no, she's just super evil.
She never was. And why would this be the warning too? Which has nothing to do with anything.
You're gonna have hot makeout sessions with this guy.
Yeah, it's so weird because this comes off like, she's about to get molested, and it's like, ugh.
In this context, the first time she is being molested though, because she's
being molested by nothing, I guess.
Yeah, but she's being molested because she feels this makeout going on, but she didn't consent to this, and she's like scared. And
but it's her past life's makeout.
It's all an excuse to have these like gratuitous close-ups of like her belly button ring.
Oh yeah, and her shirt pop open.
Yeah, her bra getting like the strap pulled down and her shorts pulled up, and it's really gross because like her past self is into it, even though she's kind of being choked at the the same time. But Phoebe in the present is just being molested, and they're like, oh, it was seductive and sexy.
Like, that's how this whole thing gets started, is because of this, but like we never get an explanation of why this happens.
It's just to get the story going.
Yeah, it just gets the story. It's a real clunky way to get the story going, but it doesn't make sense.
Her past life was warning her.
Yeah, except we find out that Phoebe wouldn't want to warn her, and we do find out that her past life is also named Phoebe, apparently.
Maybe, Leo's the only one who's saying that this is a warning. Maybe it was all part of their plan to get them to switch and save the past self from being killed and put Phoebe in her place. Maybe that was the idea? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving Charm too much credit.
It's so weird, because they start, trying to diagnose what happened with no information. Like, I don't know. Well, this seems really weird. It's like, well, you have no information. All you know is an invisible thing tried to molest her or something.
Yeah, they could have had maybe just one line from the bad guys, like, haha, they fell for it, or something, just to imply that they weren't really trying to warn them of anything.
Right, they set this in motion. That would make a lot more sense. I think that would have made a little more sense, but maybe that was the implication. It was just lost a little bit. I think it should have been a clear warning, make them a call to action, though. Either way this is going to go. Her experiencing some of a random part of a makeout session doesn't ensure that they would do anything.
She did feel like she was being threatened, so I guess
it worked out despite that. It's stupid.
I don't know why this stuff seems to be happening simultaneously, as if these timelines are going along in synchronized with each other.
But they're not, because she experiences
that later. But everything else isn't kind of in sync. It's not like when she
once
goes
Phoebe
back,
goes back to the past, it's kind of running parallel, which never makes sense when they imply that's happening in time stories.
It's pretty dumb of her to appear just as she's being choked to death. She could have gone a little before that, but apparently that's not where they were in sync with the rest of it. Whatever the fuck with their past lives / ancestors / whatever the fuck this is.
What past time is running parallel to what's happening right now?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, whenever you notice something like that, a wizard did it.
Anyway, so Phoebe passes out. Piper, Prue, and the menfolk are just outside the door, and they hear...
They were smoking some joints. And
they're just smoking the doobies together. And they come rushing in, because apparently they heard her clunk to the ground. So later, Phoebe is on the couch. She's recovering. They got to shoo neighbor Dan off. My autocorrect decided I said shoot. They shoot neighbor Dan off.
They should.
He acts all jealous because Leo gets to stay.
I'm leaving. Doesn't Leo have to go too?
Leo has to go. Leo!
No, he's got to get some crap from work or something. This doesn't sound fair. Can I get some crap from work? No, you don't work for us.
Huh? Cries into his hair gel. So anyway, Leo jealously watches Piper give the greasy butt crack poo flap a greasy goodnight kiss.
Piper's like, did you see that?
Did you see that?
She
Do you like that?
licks the oil off her lips. Piper goes over to Leo and she's like,
What the hell were you two talking about all night?
clearly this was more important than what happened to her sister, who's still on the couch, distraught over this whole thing, after being molested by a ghost, not a ghost. They do establish that, we don't think this is a ghost, because she didn't sense another presence. I guess her premonition powers would have sensed if this was something physically there with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's good Leo stayed, because they ask him if he's ever seen anything like that as a white lighter, and he goes, nope. That's the end of that.
I got no solutions.
Well, good. See ya.
Invisible things, that never happens, except for all the other things that go invisible.
Yeah. So the next day, Prue is walking Phoebe to school. They're like, she and Piper are going to be her bodyguards, even though we never see Piper escorting her anywhere.
Yeah.
Until they figure out what's up, they're going to hang out with her. But immediately they break up, and then Phoebe goes into class. Good bodyguarding. And then they have this shot
he
where
begs Prue not to go in there, so Prue acquiesces.
I guess. Prue, they have this weird shot where Prue looks at like some art across the...
Yeah, there's some people too kind of around there, but we never see anything. It seems like she sees something. But...
Yeah, she has this look like she's suspicious or she's observing something, like she kind of squints like, that's something. And then she goes over, but then we see she's just looking at the art.
Yeah.
Like, is it supposed to be
nothing.
like photos because she's a photographer or something?
Yeah, it was strange.
I don't know. It did seem like, I don't know if they cut something or it was just confusing.
Yeah, I feel like we're supposed to have seen some hint about Anton or something in that shot. And
maybe they cut something for time or something. Maybe. But as it is, she just gets distracted and leaves. So, cut to that shitty exterior shot of P3 during the day. Leo and Piper are at work. And Leo's acting all dodgy and weird, and he let slip that another whitelighter mentioned to him once that there was an instance where one of his charges was haunted by a past life. I don't know why he's hiding this. Like, he's like, I don't want to tell you about it. Like, does he think she's going to blow him up?
Sounds like nothing I've ever heard before. Although it does sound like that past life thing I heard about before.
Yeah, he's like, it could be nothing, but I'm like, why are you dodging around this?
It doesn't make any sense.
I guess he wouldn't have been worried about her blowing him up yet. She doesn't blow people up yet. She just freezes them. But...
Yeah, maybe she's just worried she'd freeze them and throw them in the bottom of the ocean.
Dump him in the gutter.
Yeah.
So they start talking about the whole neighbor Dan situation. Leo is frustrated because he's mortal, so we can't really help them out so much. And he wants to be with Piper. I don't know why they don't have another...
Yeah, I don't know why he wants to be with Piper, but he does.
Yeah. And I also don't know why they don't have another whitelighter at this point, if their whitelighter is mortal now. They don't even have, like, a loser Chris to be unhelpful.
They didn't cast anyone.
Neighbor Dan is their protector. So, yeah.
They need protection from him, as he shows very shortly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Leo's like, I'm sad that I'll never be with you. And then immediately, like, neighbor Dan's like, hey, someone was talking about you being together with Leo.
Yeah. Right? He kisses Piper and then stares a death glare right into the camera at Leo.
Oh, it is so fucking creepy. He kisses Piper. Yeah. And he looks like right at the camera and it's like a serial killer or something.
I had to take a picture and put it on Twitter. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand what we're supposed to be feeling in this situation. Normally, when you got these love triangles in these types of shows, it's like you got Team Jacob and Team Edward, you know? But who's Team Greasy Butt Crack Poofla?
Why the hell did you do that?
Disgusting.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that is who Piper is meant to be with. Someone that
they did
creepy.
deserve each other. So Leo heads into the back, and then neighbor Dan just squeaks his way into the chair across from Piper, just
staring directly into the camera.
Yeah, he's jealous. He's asking questions about Leo, very suspicious of him. I guess
bromance is over.
I guess it's like, I could see from one point of view, like, oh, he's worried this guy has no past and it's kind of weird and maybe he's dangerous. But this all stems from just jealousy, and he gets his like brother-in-law to do this like background check on him, like way too much to do considering this is all information he's like digging up himself. It's not like, oh, something slipped and then he's like, this is weird.
Little does Dan know he's going to be one of those files in the future.
He's gonna end up ashes on the floor. So at the college, Phoebe is attacked by the invisible force again. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Is that supposed to be when the past sisters were / cousins were trying to kill her?
I guess.
Because it wasn't the makeout session that time.
No.
I don't know. One of the girls in the classroom, I don't know if this is a featured extra or not, because she doesn't say anything, but she does do a bad scream. Ah! And that's what Prue hears. She's like, oh, I was looking at apparently all across the courtyard she could hear this going on and runs into this classroom.
Her whole Prue super hearing.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, Phoebe, are you okay? And then they sit there awkwardly while the scene dissolves.
Let me say nothing.
Are you okay?
Wait for next scene.
So Piper, Prue, Phoebe, and Leo are at the house. They're checking the Book of Shadows for stuff about past lives. And Leo says that past lives are how their souls evolve and how they grow as individuals. They don't seem to know what past lives are. My impression, what I think past lives are supposed to be, what I've gathered, is that you're like reincarnated into someone else. Your soul is reborn as someone else. But this apparently is just relatives. Their past lives are just relatives that have their souls.
Very weird take on past lives.
Yeah.
Like, it gets really murky too once we learn some of the relations here.
Yeah,
like Piper and neighbor Dan's past selves are Graham's parents.
Yeah,
like,
this is fucked up. Why would they be? This is like an incestuous relationship going on with Piper and neighbor Dan?
Apparently.
Because if their past lives work with him like it does with them, I mean, he is a relative of himself, right? Because they're relatives of. So it's incest, is what this. He's a weird greasy butt crack,
life
incest.
There's no DNA, I guess. Just
but
weird
they are in the family
souls.
tree. No, but they're in the family tree. They're related to them.
Yeah, but that was his past life, right? It wasn't necessarily related to him by blood.
This is getting...
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
This is getting real murky.
It's weird how the charmed ones are all apparently blood past lives, but neighbor Dan's maybe not. I don't know.
Creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Leo theorizes Phoebe's past life is trying to warn her about something that may be endangering her. This is when Piper finds a spell in the book that will take Phoebe to her past life. And Prue's like, well, there's no spell to bring you back. She says this despite only looking at the one page. Like, she's like, no, we're not going to do this. And then she kind of like picks up a couple pages and like flips it a little like, no, there's nothing there. Even though she's not looked anywhere in the book for this spell.
That we can send Phoebe to the past and not bring her back.
Like, I don't know. It feels like she could have looked, any of them could have looked around a little more for a spell to come back. But then Leo's just like, she could probably come back whenever she wants. It's fine.
We'll see. Maybe we can lose Phoebe in the past. I think it'd be a win.
Yeah. Prue's like, well, you could be trapped in the past. And then they're like, we're going to ignore you. Phoebe says the spell immediately. Goes to the past. So, cut to some sepia-toned footage from past Phoebe's point of view.
They start with this. No, that's the past.
Yeah.
Sepia-tone.
Yeah.
But then, we're bored of that, so it fades back to color.
Into color. It starts out kind of like one of those sketches they would do in the Christopher Walken SNL, where it was like, it wasn't like the concierge. It was like something.
The Continental.
The Continental! That's what it was, where it was all like POV of him and like fancy people, and then he would get like slapped across the face or whatever.
Yeah.
That was kind of what's going on with past Phoebe, because everyone's giving her stink faces. She's going to the manor. She's outside. You see like some cars that look like 20s. People are in 20s outfits. That's how you know it's a early episode, because they have somewhat of a budget. But she's going to the house. It's a speakeasy.
It's a speakeasy. I can't with that.
A speakeasy with like a red carpet out front, basically.
This
like,
isn't hidden at all. They're like in big open windows. Like, this is not this is like the dumbest speakeasy since Riverdale.
Pretty much.
This is not hidden. You can't have a speakeasy here.
It's like, I say that they had more money for like costumes and cars, but they also had no money because they're setting it in the house clearly to save money.
With it not being redressed really at all.
No,
so it just still looks like a bar and a piano.
It's just a living room where people are having a fancy 20s party in. Hilarious. In the 20s, everyone's a flapper, by the way. All the women are flappers, all the men have tuxedos on.
Mm-hmm.
So the color returns to the screen. They give up on the POV thing. We see past Phoebe in a mirror. She's got the flapper outfit, some red with some feathers and stuff. She's looking in the mirror and she's evil. Everyone's giving her stink face. They hate her.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be evil.
Also, they all know that they're witches because everyone's like, "Oh, you cast that love potion for me. It's great." Yeah. In the 20s, they also had loud parties with a crowd of people we never see again.
Mm-hmm. It's a parallel.
So, We dissolve to Phoebe in the present on the couch. She is smiling while she's unconscious, happy to be spreading misery wherever she goes. Piper is like, is she all right? Like, apparently the smile on her face was baffling. Like, maybe something's wrong here.
She experiencing some kind of joy? I don't like that.
I don't know what a smile is when it's not a grimace.
I imagine being happy, arguing with your spouse forever.
My notes get real confusing after this because I had to keep writing in the past Phoebe, present Piper, past Piper, in the future, whatever.
Yeah.
Forget it! I'm not doing it! This episode was badly written!
So I'm going to try my best. In the past Phoebe, who may or may not actually be named Phoebe, they keep calling her Phoebe.
Yeah, they act like that was actually the past version's name, too.
But I think all we really know from their family tree is it's like P. Dot and then the last names.
Well, this is the only one they seem to say the name of. They say
like
that
name,
it's
but
Phoebe.
They do call her Phoebe, but I wonder if they're just shortening it like that's the past Phoebe, so they're just calling her Phoebe.
Phoebe calls her Phoebe, and Leo calls her Phoebe. I don't remember
if they ever call each other their names in the past parts. I'm sure someone will correct us if they do, but
I don't think they do.
I think they just call each other cousin, because they're cousins.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what you always do with your cousins, right? Hello, cousin.
Maybe in the 20s they all go, hey, cousin, get that giggle water. Giggle water. Piper, the past Piper saying giggle water is like the least convincing 20s speak I've ever heard in anything.
Giggle water. Giggle water. Give me some lactating poison.
So, past Phoebe is fondling this, like, amulet on her neck. This is very important to this episode, this amulet.
She's like, sparkle, sparkle.
Sparkle, sparkle. We also see past neighbor Dan at the piano.
Oh, part of your lives forever.
Yeah, I love that they indicate that neighbor Dan was going to be part of their past lives, like always. His soul is just floating around them. Just a reminder, this is apparently their great-grandfather, according to this.
Yeah.
So he and past Phoebe exchange some disdainful looks. Everyone at the party knows Phoebe's a witch. She's laughing about cursing people. Like, she's like, ha ha ha, you want me to curse someone? So this is when past Piper, who was also a flapper, goes up to the bar. She talks to someone named Jake and then says that giggle water line, like,
hurry up with that giggle water.
Mm-hmm.
This is when past Phoebe steps up stinkily to past Piper, and we find out they're cousins. That's the main change here, is that they're cousins and not sisters.
They evolve to sisters. They actually say that later, like, we evolved to sisters.
What the hell is this about?
Such nonsense.
I love, too, they have these special powers, but in Charmed lore, they have these powers because it's their charmed powers. So are these cousins charmed ones, or they just happen to have similar weird powers?
They have more powers because, like, past Prue and Phoebe have extra powers.
Yeah, they act like if they hadn't abused those powers, they would still have these powers. So are they evil charm powers, or what's going on here?
It's weird because, Leo insinuates that past, or like Phoebe from the past, abused her power. That's why she lost fire power. But Prue's supposedly good in the past, but she doesn't have ice power anymore.
I thought fire powers were specifically supposed to be evil powers too.
Well, I mean,
she
Phoebe
gets them after
them.
she had them.
It makes perfect sense.
Well, she did, because she drank the evil potion thing, and she was an evil witch in that timeline.
Well, it's Phoebe.
It's Phoebe, but also she gains like flame powers when she gets with Cole, and she's the evil queen of the underworld. I think they do say it's an evil power. I feel like in the reboot, they say that it's just evil stuff, but I feel like we only see evil people using
mostly
fire and Charmed. And she was evil, so...
And Phoebe is evil, so...
If you misuse your evil powers, you don't get your evil powers anymore. I feel like that's just an endless cycle of losing your powers, because you're just going to inevitably do an evil thing if you're an evil witch. Anyway, I thought that they called all bad witches warlocks. Was that wrong? Maybe not. I don't know. I don't
remember.
So anyway, we find out that past Piper is married to past neighbor Dan. I don't know why their relations or ancestors I'm just reading my notes. We already covered this. Anyway, so past Phoebe wonders why past Piper isn't afraid of her.
Why ain't you afraid of me?
We get to see past life Prue. She's in a terrible wig that's like a red bob.
Yeah, that's weird.
I like the other ones. They gave either convincing wigs or they put their hair into these like finger curl things that are like the 20 styles that look convincing. But why is Prue in the bad wig? They could have just pinned her hair up to look like a bob or like her season 1 hairdo.
Yeah, they could have.
But anyway, she's also a photographer. She's got one of those like old timey flash cameras.
Mm-hmm.
She's taking them at the speakeasy, which is a great environment for taking photos with your illegal activities. People around the block trying to get their photos taken because apparently she's a very distinguished photographer in this timeline.
It's so stupid.
Why in the 20s are people more open about doing magic? Was it just like lost over time? Like
apparently
it was like that Cast a Deadly Spell movie where everyone like in old timey times like just was hand in hand with magic. It was just out in the open.
Yeah.
A shout out to all the Cast a Deadly Spell fans out there and the Bud Spencer fans. So past Phoebe slinks on over to her. She's just slinking around the whole party and she says hello. And past Prue is like, we gotta talk. And then past Phoebe is like, we're done talking. But then why did she come over?
Yeah.
What's the, just to go neener, neener, neener? Like,
apparently. So
past Phoebe slinks away to go be stinky somewhere else. Past Piper comes over and they're like, you got the spell. They give past Phoebe a stink face. This feels like real life slipping in. Especially these days.
Yeah.
It really... Everyone kind of knew, but with modern context, it's really kind of like this is how they felt about Alyssa Milano.
There's some line evil Phoebe says something like about taking over. It's like, yeah.
This really is kind of past repeats itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, because she says it to past Prue. It's like, yeah, that's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we never hurt each other. Meanwhile, like, die, Prue. So anyway, past Phoebe goes over to this little girl named Christina. She's doing some fortune telling and playing with some magic stuff, and I guess Phoebe asked her to watch her stuff. This kind of feels out of nowhere because we have not seen this little girl or any of this prior to this. But Phoebe is like
mostly
pissed.
Because they want someone to still be alive in the present.
Yeah. Past Phoebe is pissed. Like she's like, you don't play with magic stuff. And then like breaks her doll.
This is another thing that makes sense at the speakeasy, right? You bring the little kids.
You bring the little kids to the speakeasy.
Have their photo taken.
That's why a teenager in Riverdale could run a speakeasy before she could legally drink. It's fine.
Under a cafe.
Yeah. Under Pop's chocolate shop or whatever.
Like, what's that music underneath the floor, Pops? Oh, nothing. Just the speakeasy.
That's just the mice. Why is past Phoebe so angry with this little girl who was watching her stuff and doing some fortune telling? She just didn't want her to because she was acting like, she was being irresponsible, but it feels like this past Phoebe shouldn't really be concerned about this stuff. Very wishy-washy about her feelings on anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, because they act like she's having some sort of, like, crisis of conscience here, right? Like, she's like, I don't know if I should be evil, and it's this other guy, Anton, who's manipulating her. But then later, she's just evil, so it's like, why...
Yeah, I guess she decided, it's like, actually, yeah, I am evil.
Yeah. I had some time to think about it. I was thinking about it, and my cousins tried to murder me, so I think I'll just be evil, I think is the thing. So anyway, she's like, and then throws the doll, and she's so just infuriated, and then she goes over to pose sexily by a pillar, like puts her hand up, like she's just going around the party doing random shit.
Naked woman!
This is so Anton, sexy evil Anton, who is always going to find her in all her past lives. I'm sure this ever came up in her life again. He comes over, starts seductively attacking her. So they're making out, but he's like kind of choking her at the same time. I don't know why he does this, because apparently they're into each other. I guess they're just into like S&M or something.
I think that's it.
I guess. But in this case, it's not like, she's into it. It's not a molestation. I mean, maybe Phoebe inside her, not able to control herself, feels molested again because she's can't control what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, they're making out. They move things further outside, and he gives her a potion to triple her power in the inevitable fight against her cousins. Apparently, because they're good witches, they gotta fight them because they're bad witches. And they just say this like this is like a category, like a race, like I'm an evil witch and you're a good witch and we must fight. So evil past Phoebe, she tests out her new powers by throwing a fireball, which wakes up present Phoebe, who says that she was bad. It's good to be bad.
Good to be evil.
Good to be evil.
Hey, how you doing? Good to be evil.
She's like, I love the fireball. It's so bad.
Like, how come I can't do that now? I want to burn people. Yeah.
Yeah, this happens in the next scene. They head upstairs to go check the family tree because past lives are just relatives. And we get a good shot of Prue's bedazzled flip-flops. She's got these chunky, sequined flip-flops on. And Leo's like, your past lives look the same to Phoebe because her soul recognized their souls.
This makes no sense.
What?
Like, I could accept it, if it was just this, like, okay, that's an explanation for why we just, made the main cast members.
Yeah, the quantum leap rules, they look like Scott Bakula, even though not really Scott Bakula,
But then they pull this bullshit where they meet, the little girl as an old woman in the present, and Leo goes, oh yeah, she can see
she has to
the souls too.
She has to recognize Phoebe for her plot to work. So they're just like, oh, she recognizes her soul nonsensically. Like, what is that about?
It should have been played like that was weird. Like, it didn't make sense because we find out later there's a twist with the old woman anyway.
That so, like,
Leo should have been like, I guess she can see through your soul. That doesn't seem right.
Was it supposed to be him still?
Yeah, I think so.
It was supposed to be Anton in disguise? I thought it was her initially, and then it wasn't. Because she recognized, she remembers the dolly thing and all that.
It should have just been him the whole time, though. And
Unclear
then they could have. That would have made more sense, though, if it was him the whole time.
Yeah, I suppose. There's plot holes no matter which way you slice it, but
like if Leo had just acted like it was a little weird that she could see her soul, then it would make more sense because it was really Anton.
He just says like she recognizes your soul. That's a good sign. Why is it a good sign? What does that line mean? What does anything?
There's a bunch of people just seeing someone as someone else because they can see their soul because they knew them in a past life coincidentally. Like so stupid.
She had to pay the troll toll to see that boy's hole. So anyway, they're looking at the family tree. Oh, Leo also says like that everyone's souls tend to travel in the same circle of family and friends. So yeah, neighbor Dan's always sure.
I just want to go back to that for a second. Like, imagine if like someone saw a crime being committed and they gave a police sketch, but they gave a completely different face because of, I knew them in a past life because so I saw their soul.
Maybe the old lady's just senile. Who knows? So anyway, he says that everyone travels in the same circles, and that's what soulmates means. They're always going to end up together. So yeah, neighbor Dan, fucking sure.
Soulmates.
Shut up, Leo.
Originally, it's going to be neighbor Dan being put on ice in season 8.
Yeah. Does this mean... So they say later that Piper used to be lovers with a past life of Leo, and we'll get into that in a second, but like... Does that mean they were destined to break up the whole time? Like,
apparently.
Anyway, Phoebe is like, I couldn't control my actions. I was just kind of watching as this was happening. But I kind of liked being bad. Because Phoebe's fucking evil.
Yeah.
Do you like nice girls or naughty girls? Huh?
And then Phoebe's like, it's kind of...
She would never choose to be evil later, though, would she?
Would she? Fucking bullshit. Phoebe apologist. Come on. So Phoebe's like, it's bullshit. I didn't get to keep my evil fire powers. I'm a good guy.
Just a little bit of burning people alive. It's fine.
And Leo's like, if you screw up, you regress. So that means Like, she sucks because her past lives were evil. Is that why she also sucked so much more later in the show?
Yeah.
That's why she lost her powers on trial, because she was evil?
Because she messed up bug time.
She messed up bug time. Anyway, past Prue also has these, like, ice powers, and she doesn't have them now, so did she also misuse these powers? Past Prue is also evil? So then Phoebe starts talking about how hot Anton was and what a great kisser he was. Like, I
was into it.
Phoebe was always horny. No matter what life, past, present, or future, she's horny.
Naked woman!
So Piper's like, well, that hot Anton might have killed you. And then Phoebe's like, well, maybe evil past neighbor Dan did. You don't know.
Like in the end, it wasn't either of them. It was her past sisters.
Yeah.
It has to be a man. Misogyny.
So Leo's like, well, I hope that Piper learns from her mistakes after marrying evil neighbor Dan in the past.
Yeah.
And then Prue laughs at them.
You idiots.
You stupid. They also happen to have the camera that past Prue was using in their attic.
That's weird.
Why do they still have that? And then, like, Prue was so into photography, she never noticed they had this old-ass camera upstairs. Like, wouldn't she be like, wow, that's cool. I too am into photography. What's that about?
Past Prue's like, I love my camera so much, I'll leave it in the attic of the speakeasy.
Yeah. Let it gather dust forever. So they look at the family tree, and here's where things start to get real fucking confusing. There's some real bullshit going on here. So we see Grandma Ghost in there. Her maiden name was Johnson, and now we see that the Halliwell name came from their grandfather? Mm-hmm. In season 1, it was from their dad. It was on their dad's side was Halliwell.
Victor Halliwell.
They changed that to Bennett later, but on this, it says Victor Jones.
He's the man of 3 last names.
What is going on here? And then, of course, later they changed so Halliwell came from their mom's side, their grandma's side, and it was like passed down with all the women. So a lot of confusing stuff. This is also where we see that neighbor Dan, his past life was named Gordon Johnson. So his past life has his last name, Gordon, as his first name, because Dan Gordon is neighbor Dan's name for people who don't know. And then he's married to Grandma Ghost's mom, so he's her dad, and then Piper's her mom. Past Piper is their own, their great grandma.
She's her own great grandma.
She's her own great grandma. What is going on here?
It's so dumb.
They're so incestuous. Dun, 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 dun.
Crème de livre.
So they see a date of death for Phoebe's past life, and Phoebe is like, that's today's date, so that means I'm gonna die today. So I gotta go back to the past.
For some reason.
I don't know, I guess she's like, in the anniversary, it must mean I'm gonna die today. Because it runs parallel to this time for some reason.
Okay.
So she's like, I gotta go back to the past, I gotta see if I can remember anything.
Their thing, too, is like they seem to insinuate it's like, Anton's gonna get her in the present, but he's not out to get her in the present.
Yeah, well, because again, like maybe it was part of their plan. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Actually, they don't decide to go back to the past yet. What they decide to do, I was mixing up things, was they decide to find the little girl in the present and see if she remembers anything. She would remember it. She was there.
Mm-hmm. That's when they do the crap with she sees your souls too.
Yeah. They get off-screen Daryl to track down this woman. They're like, we'll call Daryl. He's not going to show up, though.
He doesn't have a past counterpart. No, Daryl.
Yeah, it's not like in the 70s when they met his dad or his grandfather or whatever with the afro. That was stellar. So they head to the old folks' home. Old Christina recognizes Phoebe's soul and remembers the doll thing. It's weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when that happened, when she's like, oh, you broke my dolly, I was like, oh, she recognized her soul, and I was joking, and then they said that, and it's like, what?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, so Phoebe's like, don't worry, I'm the good one, and then it's fine. She's like, I'm the good Phoebe.
Yeah, so they tell her, like, convince her you're the good one. She goes, hi, I'm the good one. Well, that's enough for me.
This seems fine. I guess if it was Anton the whole time, it makes a little more sense.
Yeah. All of it makes more sense if it's really Anton the whole time.
I don't know. Anyway, Phoebe asks if she remembers anything. Well, she says, like, do you remember going to a speakeasy as a little girl? As if she didn't just say, you broke my dolly from this very specific instance at the speakeasy. And then old Christina is like, yeah, you were a bitch back then. I saw you get murdered. She says that past Phoebe was strangled with her amulet. I don't think that's true. I think they took the amulet off and then strangled her.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was him planting the seeds to get that amulet. Maybe it was Anton.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something. But they don't get any more information about who does it or why, because maybe it's Anton. They step outside, and Phoebe's like, well, at least I won't end up in an old folks' home. What a bitch. And she's like, well, I'm going to be dead by midnight, I think, because, I don't know, it usually works that way, so let's go. Solid logic.
Okay, then. We can make that happen if you want.
Yeah. So, back to the past. Past Phoebe's just thrown the fireball. Apparently it was on pause at that moment. It wasn't running parallel. They just paused what was going on. So she's just thrown that fireball. Anton says, feels good to be bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, good to be evil.
Good to be evil. Unironic, good to be evil.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
So she's having second thoughts about killing her cousins. Again, they're trying to act like maybe she's not entirely evil, but this is thrown out the window later.
Yeah, she keeps flip-flopping. She apparently always just chooses evil.
Maybe this is parallel to what happens with Phoebe and Cole later. Like, she's manipulated or perhaps chooses to be evil, but then doesn't get out of it like present Phoebe does. Past Phoebe,
right.
Spoiler alert,
past Phoebe has to pay for her crimes.
Yeah, no redemption for her.
And there was no redemption for present Phoebe either.
That's
just
true.
They acted like
there
oh,
was.
it's fine. I know you chose evil and killed people, but you're back with us. Rating your evil column. All's forgiven.
So yeah, Anton's like, well, these good witches are going to kill you unless you had that amulet that protects you. So we really got to get rid of them. Once we kill your cousins, I'll get their powers and we'll be unstoppable. He's like, yeah, kill them and then I'll get their powers. I think this is a team effort here.
I suppose.
So then Anton's like, all right, here's the plan. I'm going to disguise myself as one of past Piper's past loves and then turns into Leo. This episode takes place 3 months before Leo is born. So apparently this past Leo dies pretty fucking soon. So he also has to get back together with Piper if they're going with the soulmates thing. So in 3 months, he gets back together with her and then dies. And also she's still married to neighbor Dan and then has Grandma Ghost. There's some like cheating going on here.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just like her mom, you know, like,
yeah,
like Patty. She was getting together with the white lighter.
She cheated. We find out Grams was cheating on her husband too.
Lots of Cheatersons in the Halliwell line, or Jones, or whatever the fuck their last names
Bennett
were.
Or Bennett.
No, I think Jones was Victor's last name. What was their last name? Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah.
They're like, that's a penis. I'm phallus-phobic.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, so Anton disguises himself as past Leo.
This is amazing. He does this for 2 seconds. You go, hey, can you walk 2 steps over with me? Ha! It's really me, Anton.
Yeah, he shows up. Past Piper looks thrilled to see him. Like, what are you doing here? Moves 2 feet away, and then he's like, haha, it's me, Anton. Like, what was the point
was that
of this?
worth it?
Yeah, and then she just goes like, ah, and then struggles and falls over, and the whole plan's ruined. Like, what? That was nothing. This guy's supposed to be going from their lives, like every past life for eternity, and like immortal and following Phoebe around, and then he was foiled that easily.
Yeah.
That's stupid. So past Phoebe was trying to lure past Prue away, and then they see that happen, and so Phoebe's like, it's off. I'll just try to incinerate her. And then past Prue counters it with some ice powder stuff. Anton goes to strangle past Piper, And then past neighbor Dan comes to the rescue before getting backhanded into a fireplace, Leo style. All of her boyfriends and husbands are just destined to get flung on wires across the room.
Yeah.
So, past Prue is trying to get away from past Phoebe, so she flashes the camera at her, temporarily blinding her so that she can drop kick her. And we get this like stunt double flapper panty shot, and she's like flying at her.
Naked woman!
With like wires, so it looks like a diaper. And it's just bad. So then they fall on the floor and they grab each other's wrists and kind of wiggle around for a while, like. So past Piper is like, I know how I'm going to get away. She kicks Anton in the nuts. And then she tosses a grandfather clock on top of him. Like,
this is more action than you get in later Charmed, at least, even if it is silly.
That's true. This is before Holly Marie Combs decided she wasn't going to do fight scenes anymore.
Just like, I don't know, every fight scene will just be, I put my hands up and they blow up.
Yeah. We also, there was a nut shot in the last episode we talked about, too. I appreciate the nut shots.
Ding! Ah, my groin!
So, past Prue gets past Phoebe's amulet, and she and past Piper attempt to vanquish past Phoebe before she wakes up in the present, being stared at by her present sisters like they also want to murder her.
And who can blame them?
Yeah, Phoebe is very distrustful. She's like, oh no, you were the ones who tried to kill me then. You might try to kill me now. And then Piper's like, we'd never hurt you. And it's like, this is not, they're not their past lives. Like, what is...
And then Phoebe even says, like, although I did try to kill you guys first, but I'm mad at you.
Oh, well. And Leo is like, hey, they're not, these are their past lives, not them. Duh. And Phoebe feels bad because she liked being bad. Who cares? Love wasn't enough. So Leo is like, yeah, I know my past self was a former lover of Piper's. It's all good. I get to see all my past lives as a white lighter for perspective.
Yeah, that was weird.
Maybe that's why he's been stalking Piper since she was a baby. Because they do say that in a later episode, that he's been, like, apparently following her whole life, so... Ew! So he knew she was, like, reborn, and then he's like, I'm gonna imprint on this baby? Like, what the fuck is that?
You know, we've been making Dan real creepy, but don't forget, Leo's also creepy.
Maybe he deserves what happens to him later. So Piper, surprised, she bitches at Leo for not telling her this. She is right for once.
Mm-hmm.
So Phoebe's like, let's get back to my problems. Phoebe says that all of her lives are cursed to die by her cousins, sisters, or whatever, cursed her so that she's going to die all the time so that her soul won't get back together with Anton, who's immortal, which I think is new information. I don't think they established he was immortal before now. Which
also makes me wonder, is he going to have a next life? He's
Probably.
A demon? Do demons
Was
get
he a
that?
demon or was he just a warlock?
I don't know.
I thought he was a warlock.
I'm not sure.
Maybe he was a demon. He was trying to steal their powers. That's usually a demon thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, what was stopping him from getting back together with Phoebe before then?
I don't know.
Nothing was stopping him. This doesn't make any sense.
No.
But anyway, she's like, yeah, he's immortal, and I guess we were supposed to know that. And Phoebe explains that the amulet that Anton gave past Phoebe would protect her, so she specifically says the amulet that Anton gave Phoebe, as if her name is Phoebe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's at this point, they start calling the past one Phoebe.
Yeah, they just start calling her Phoebe. So Phoebe.
It's weird because you hear Phoebe just say, oh yeah, well, I wonder what Phoebe did.
Yeah,
like, huh?
Weird. So Prue and Piper go to check the Book of Shadows, and Phoebe has like shooed them off. Like she's like, yeah, I'm going to go get something to eat. Just kidding. Leo, let's go to that retirement home, and we're going to see if Christina remembers where the amulet is. So they go to the retirement home. I think she does this because she doesn't want them to see her die if it goes wrong. That's why she doesn't want to tell them. Mm-hmm. So anyway, they go to the retirement home, and Phoebe comes up with a plan to write a spell to go to the past and control her actions so that she can hide the amulet somewhere that she can find it in the present day. I'm glad they came here for this.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no reason, oh, she didn't know anything. Well, anyway.
Weird. Leo says, like, okay, we do that, though. That means past Phoebe's going to get control of your body.
Yeah. And then Phoebe's like, don't worry so much. You're mortal now and you'll get wrinkles. That's her brushing off of that. Nothing bad will ever happen from this. Surprise, things go bad. So Phoebe then lays on this old woman's bed to say the spell. Rude. And at this point, we don't know that Christina is secretly Anton in disguise. So they're just like, yeah, you stay over there, old woman, while I go say a spell.
We're using your bed. Get out.
What is this, a doll? So, Phoebe switches places with her past self just as she's being killed. Cool. She's being strangled to death. But she manages to break away and then does this, like, roll. Not quite a commando roll, but some sort of, like, tactical roll away. And then we see more 20s undies. They're acting like this is part of her, like, self-defense training or something. Like, she knows more, like, fighting skills than her past self did. Yeah. So in the present, Leo is looking at a still unconscious Phoebe, and he's like, are you all right? Yeah, she's gonna say something to you.
Yeah, it'd be the bad Phoebe if she said anything.
Yeah, I think he was trying to check if there was another Phoebe, but she's clearly still unconscious. So that's when old Christina reveals that she's Anton.
New Adventures of Old Christina.
Old Christina, yeah. I guess I don't really need to it's not like the young Christina ever showed up in the story again, but anyway, she reveals that she's Anton and he has the amulet. So Anton backhands Leo into the bathroom where this old woman is like duct taped to her wheelchair or whatever. It's hilarious seeing him break through a door and land next to a toilet.
I love that Anton didn't actually kill old Christina either. I'm evil, but not that evil.
I kind of like torturing this old woman. I'll keep her around. So Anton, Leo's knocked out, by the way. So Anton goes and puts the necklace on the sleeping Phoebe, who wakes up, and she's now evil past Phoebe in the present. So in the past, present Phoebe tries to reason with her past sister cousins, but she sounds dumb trying to explain all of this. So she tries to leave. She just runs away, and then she says the spell, but she can't leave because the amulet's on the past Phoebe in the present. So, Back to the Future! Prue and Piper are at the retirement home. They're checking on the real Christina. And then Piper tells Leo that he isn't getting any sympathy because he let Phoebe do that spell. He's an idiot. And then Prue she's talking to Christina, and then she promises to get her Jell-O, but then doesn't. She goes over the others and then leaves. She never gets her a Jell-O. What an asshole. So Prue correctly assumes that Anton and evil past Phoebe went back to the manor to try to kill them. I guess.
We'll just go to home base and wait for them there.
Yeah. So in the past, present Phoebe runs into past Anton, and then there's a makeout again.
And then she goes, just kidding, kicks him.
Yeah, she kicks him into a pool table. In the present day, Piper...
This doesn't affect anything to do with Anton in the present. He doesn't remember that.
Yeah. So in the present day, Piper speaks like a robot when they arrive at the manor.
Oh, yeah?
Where could they be? Or something like that. Yeah. Like,
exterminate.
Maybe they aren't here. I don't know why she says it like this.
Exterminate the Phoebe.
Oh no, stairs. That's kind of what's going on in the past. Phoebe runs upstairs and they're like, stairs.
Yeah. For some reason they don't get her upstairs.
So they find present Anton and evil past Phoebe at the manor, sitting posing all evil on the chairs.
We've been waiting for hours.
And we were like, oh wait, we gotta have the best poses. I'm glad that we saw evil past Phoebe having a crisis of conscience earlier in the episode, because from here on out, she's just like, ha ha ha, I'm evil.
I'll kill you.
So a fight ensues where the fireball effects don't even singe the furniture. So powerful.
It's like a bureau or something. It's
yeah.
like,
and they're like, we don't want to make it look singed or blow it up.
No. It's like, ooh, good thing that didn't hit them. That would have done nothing, apparently.
This is supposed to be 3 times the power of her sisters. If this was later on, like Piper would just be blowing things up more powerful than that left and right, just casually.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, evil past Phoebe tries to fireball Prue, and then she deflects it into Anton, who I guess is only immortal in a relative sense.
Unless he gets blown up.
Yeah, he gets blown up, and then he takes
It's
forever.
one of the slowest, demon or warlock, whatever, explosions ever. Is he and Phoebe give each other a look like, oops.
Yeah, they play some piano music, like this is meaningful or something. So Piper then hits evil past Phoebe on the head and knocks her out. And they grab the amulet, and this gives present Phoebe in the past the opportunity to switch back with the evil past Phoebe and put her back in the past.
Yeah.
And then they put the amulet back on so that the other Phoebe dies. But the present Phoebe is fine. I guess they didn't care that she died after that. They're like, not our problem.
She was evil.
I love she just gets murdered, and then just a weird thing happened for a little bit with these past lives. They're like, what? She's running around saying she's good or whatever, and then, die.
It's like, why did any of this happen? I don't know.
And nothing was accomplished.
Wait a minute. What about me?
We don't have time to care about you.
Phoebe then thanks Piper and Prue for saving all of her lives, except they didn't save the past Phoebe. They got her killed.
Yeah.
And in fact, by their past selves, they directly killed her.
And she needed to die, otherwise she'd try and switch back with present Phoebe, I guess. She would have been in danger the whole time,
What are you talking about? So later on, Piper and Leo are discussing being together in a past life. Leo says that they're destined to be together before neighbor Dan's like, busts the door down and comes in.
I got all this information checked out on Leo. He's not who he says he is.
He rings the doorbell, and then Leo goes, "Saved by the bell." What? So yeah, neighbor Dan's there. He's a jealous dum-dum. He said his brother-in-law was checking out the army records. Things don't add up. And then Piper
look at this missing person report on me. Oh no!
He also he caresses Piper's pigtails. And it's really weird and creepy. I don't like it.
He looks in the camera like, oh, the creep.
Yeah, caresses the pigtails and looks at us like, sexy, huh?
Stares at Leo again.
Yeah,
as he tries to milk her pigtails.
He's like, I just thought that grease would come out of it.
Poison.
I thought your pigtails would be greasy like my hair.
He flings his hair. Just...
So anyway, upstairs, Prue in a backless halter top is checking in on Phoebe. She's like, this is my comforting halter top. Phoebe is writing a warning about Anton in the Book of Shadows. Yeah, I'm sure that's ever going to come up again.
It seems like the most useless warning ever, but sure, thanks.
They have this, talk about how, Phoebe feels guilty about being bad in the past and liking it a little bit. And Prue's like, there's a little bad in all of us. It's just you suck as a person way worse than everyone else. The end.
And you're going to choose evil again in the future, aren't you? Aren't you?
Yeah, this episode was a real warning to us. And that was the end. What are your final thoughts on Pardon My Past?
It's a mess. I like the idea, I guess, of some of it going back into the past and stuff, but the execution's way off. There's things I like about it because it's an earlier season episode, so they have some fight scenes and stuff. So they try a little bit more than later episodes of the show, but yeah, this didn't really come together.
I kind of enjoy how much of a mess it is. I don't know. I kind of liked it, but it's it's an episode that makes no sense. It contradicts a lot of things.
It's still funny because of how messy it is.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but yeah, it is a complete mess. I do think it has some of my favorite neighbor Dan moments and how much he sucks.
Yeah,
next to him being an old man because French Stewart Genie cursed him. Yeah, it's terrible, but it's funny. All right, Phelan. Do you have a Margoyle or a Carman?
Okay. My Margoyle's gonna go to neighbor Dan for that creep look he gave after kissing Piper.
Yeah, he's
that was
kind of the biggest loser in me.
Yeah, that was beyond creepy for no reason. I'm like, just, why would he do that? Stupid neighbor Dan. Carman's gonna go to past Prue for killing Phoebe in the past.
Yeah, same Carman. Past Prue gets it. She got to murder Phoebe.
If only she had done that in the present, too.
I think Neighbor Dan is quite a loser in this episode, but I'm going to give my Margoyle to Anton. Because he sucked pretty bad. He had a long time to do this, and he got defeated pretty easily in both lives.
Yeah.
And I also want to give an honorary honorary Margoyle to past Leo for immediately dying right before other Leo's born.
I'll give an honorary Carman assist, I guess, to past Piper for assisting in the murder of past Phoebe.
And the day was saved. Well, Prue got reincarnated after she died and then killed present Phoebe because it was just important that she did that. So anyway, that was our review. If you enjoyed this podcast, we appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, or reviewed wherever you're enjoying it on. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/movie nights the series and youtube.com/Phelan. You can support us on Patreon, vote for episodes of Charmed Rewind, or see episodes of other things ahead of time. You can support our Patreon pages at patreon.com/movie nights and patreon.com/Phelan. Thanks to Peter Hunter for editing the podcast for us and for the amazing theme song. You can find him at Pretor Hunter on YouTube and on various social medias. He's a funny guy. Funny guy. What hashtag should we use?
Hashtag stinkeasy.
Hashtag they're so incestuous. Hashtag stinkles. Stinkles. Anyway, that'll do it for us. We'll see you Charmanders next time. Bye.